What's up, everyone? My name is Francesca Fit, and I'm going to be your coach today. So I love all things functional movement. I love mobility training. Today, my low back on my left side is feeling just a little bit stiff. So we're gonna just move through that tension today. So that is our only objective for today. It's just moving through a little bit of lateral low back tension. Trying to think about what else my body was feeling today, but that's about it. Just like really, this whole region here just feels a little bit stiff, maybe a little bit on that left hip. But yeah, hope you guys are excited for this format. This is a little bit different than what I usually do, but let's jump in. And actually, I haven't been on YouTube for a long time, so that doesn't matter. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, let's open up our groin. So I'm gonna do a lateral Cossack crawl. So I'm gonna start by getting real low here. This might not be a great starting position for all of us. So some of us might be up here, and that's just as good. It's just really relative to like what your level is right now, what your movement history is like. So listen to your body, work within your range. Don't try to match my range of motion. And for context too, I grew up as a dancer, so I'm a little bit more bendy than most people, but that's why I fell in love with mobility training, because a lot of dancers are very bendy, but we don't have strength through that bendiness. So that is what mobility really is. It's making sure that you're not just weak and relaxing and hanging onto your tendons in deep ranges of motion. It's that you actually have strength, stability. Like if somebody gave me a 20-pound weight right now, I'd crush it, not gonna lie. All right, I can talk a lot, but this is our first move right here. Crawling Cossack. All right, so what I'm gonna do from this crawling Cossack is I'm gonna pivot into a mountain climber and then pivot all the way around into a lizard pose. So you guys will get maybe a better view on this side. So look at this leg. I'm literally pivoting till my toes come to the opposite direction. So my toes are in line with my nose. So I come forward, my toes are in line with my nose turns, my toes turn, my nose turn, my toes turn. I just came up with that analogy right now, guys, today, fresh. So when I turn, my toes pivot. That's how we keep our knees safe. And here I'm really just sitting into this stretch. Ooh, we're actually gonna make it a little bit deeper. So I'm gonna switch, and I'm actually gonna push my right hand into, oh my goodness, my right knee. This one's expert mode, y'all. If this one does not feel good, don't do it. This is your opportunity to listen to your body, work within different ranges of motion. Pushing. All right, let's come to seated. So what I'm gonna do in this next move, this is kind of like a child's pose. I'm not like leaning as much as I would with the child's pose, so let's just call this like a kneeling quadruped, whatever. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna tuck my toes under, and I'm gonna show you guys a different angle too. I'm gonna try shifting my hips back and to the left. And I like to do this with toes tucked and toes flat. I feel like it just hits different areas. Toes tucked and toes flat and toes tucked. Yeah, I feel like with my toes tucked under, I get like a little bit higher, like maybe more sacrum, a little bit more low back, and then with toes flat, I feel it like more in my hip capsule. So everyone's different. We're all built different. And like I said, I want the intention today to be a little bit more different, a little bit more open format. I want you guys to feel empowered to like pause and explore into your bodies with anything that feels good. And on this one, I'm actually gonna widen my knees a little bit more. So I'm gonna widen my knees and then keep alternating. Toes up. And then toes flat. And this is a great way to really practice like variability in movement and knowing that sometimes one movement is quote unquote better than the other. Sometimes certain movements are quote unquote safer. But when it comes to mobility work, if you have good range of motion and you have good control, if two moves feel slightly different, neither are wrong per se. So yeah, this one is a great example of variation. All right, my body wants some more groin work now. So we opened up a little bit of like the outside part of the hip. We did some inner thigh. Now we should really get into that groin. So the groin is going to be a little bit stiff on some of us. Some of us that have good range of motion, good movement, we might be able to get into positions like this. But once we block off the knees, you're kind of hitting a different area, a different intensity. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our knees nice and wide. I'm going to just go with the distance of my yoga mat, so that way my knees aren't on the wood floor. And I'm going to sit as far back as I can with my elbows down. Honestly, this position right here feels like I'm going to give birth. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to squeeze my glutes. I'm going to squeeze my right butt cheek, squeeze my left butt cheek. Actually, here we go. Left squeeze, right squeeze. I'm driving that hip forward. Left, right. Squeezing that glute. Trying to open up that front side of that hip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back and I'm going to come forward. Squeezing my glutes here too. Rock back. Exhale. Squeeze. Woo. So this one's going to be a little bit more groin and hip flexors. So when you come to the front, you're still opening up those hip flexors. And see if you can really squeeze your butt. Tuck your butt under. And lengthen. Just so y'all can see, this is me relaxed. This is me active. I'm actively squeezing, and tucking my pelvis under. Now I'm actually going to try this one. I feel like this one feels better for me with toes tucked up, flat, toes flat. All right, y'all, let's change it up a little bit. So I'm going to do the same rock back, but this time I'm going to bring one hip with me. Rock forward, bring that hip. All right, guys. Here's one of my personal faves, and I really like it because a lot of times I'll just use this as a resting position. So, you know, some people rest in their deep squat. I like to think of this one as like a half kneeling deep squat. So I'm still getting that squatting position with my right side, but then my left side is kneeling. So for this one, I really feel it a lot in the groin. So I'll try to get as deep as I can, really pushing forward over my toes, just hanging out here. And it even feels different sometimes if you go wider. Kind of bring this leg back a little bit. You could even get a stretch on the kneeling leg. Just all about intention, all about what range of motion you have access to. I know not everybody has access to this, so then you might just be here. Or you might even be here, okay? So all I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna gently try rocking deeper into my squatting leg. So I'm gonna try to squat, 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 envisioning that almost all my weight is coming onto that squatting leg. Ooh. And this one, when I come in, like I really shove my weight forward, oh my God, the opening on this kneeling side is a little bit unreal, guys. A little bit too much, no I'm kidding. It's all jokes, it's all jokes. And especially too, when we're doing really deep end of range motion, or whatever, end of range of motion training like this, you want to make sure that you don't feel any of this stuff in your tendons. You want to make sure that you feel it in the muscles or maybe in the joint itself a little bit, but you don't want to feel like any tendonitis here. You don't want to feel this pulling in your Achilles. And I note that because for the longest, every time I would do lower body or like ankle mobility stuff, I would always feel it in my Achilles. And that's because, like, I can go into context, but that's not what you want to feel. You do not want to feel this in your Achilles. Woo! Especially this side. I'm tight on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I switched. I don't know if I mentioned about switching, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to get deeper and deeper into the squat. And I'm actually going to be a little bit more conservative on this side. On my right side, I feel like I can really push, and I never feel it in my tendons. On this one, once I push a little bit too deep, I don't feel it in my Achilles, but I feel it pushing on some old or pulling on some old scar tissue, and I don't want to flare it up. So I'm just going to listen to my body, let you guys know that even us coaches, we feel a lot of things, and a lot of times we don't say it, but we feel just like you do. Okay, one side is good, one side is not. One side is strong, one side is crappy. That's why we're here to share and guide, all right? Actually, on this left side, I stopped rocking as much because when I was rocking, I was feeling it a little bit more in the ankle, but wow, now that I'm holding a nice isometric where there's no pulling on my tendons, everything feels strong, I feel it so deep in the muscles of my groin, like insane, guys. I found the magic spot. I'm gonna just stay right here. All right, our next move, let's give our hips a little bit more motion, a little bit more motion is lotion, okay? So I'm gonna start, this is how I love to set up my Shinbox switch. I'm gonna start with my feet really, really wide and my knees are bent and my toes are up. I'm just gonna switch my torso over to the left, back to center, over to the right. If you're someone that needs to use your hands, absolutely do it. It's not a cheat. It is working within your capacity. That's what you want. So you really want to use your hands if you can't stay upright. If you're like this, and you're fighting, use those hands. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually going to allow you to get better motion and better return on your investment over time. Same thing. Now we're going to add a twist, and then we're done, y'all. So on this one, I'm going to get, so how about this? We're all going to go and twist to our left together. That way no one's confused, because I'm the one who really gets confused. Right hand is going to reach across in front of my left knee, and I'm just going to slide my hand on the earth and then come back. I really want you guys to think of that same intention, even as I'm coming forward and I'm hinging. I'm not coming into a little gargoyle position, okay? I'm getting really long through my spine, length, and I'm going to reach with my left hand. I'm going to plant it. Then I'm going to slide my left hand across the floor. And I'm using both hands here. Switch. Right hand dive. My left hand's here for assistance. I'm going to reach, long spine. And come back. You guys should be feeling that on that front hip. So my right hip, left hand. I reach across. I feel it all on my left hip. If you feel that on the inside of your hip and not on the outside, you might be going a little too deep. Maybe your hips are just super tight. But we want to try to feel it on the outside. So try to make any adjustments that you can to make sure you're not impinging your front of your hip as you're reaching through that. And of course, I say that because I had to adjust my right side. But yeah, like I said, this session's a little bit different from what you'll see on the rest of my YouTube. A lot of the times I already have a structured workout and I walk you guys through it. But today we were just moving through my tension, and a lot of that is related to my hips and my scoliosis. So right now my low back feels really good. I'm actually gonna end it with one more move. So don't go anywhere, stay put. So we did a lot of rotation through the hips. We did a lot of groin opening. We opened up the back of the hips. So next one that we're gonna do, we're gonna stay with that same intention of opening up the back of the hips, but I'm just gonna do it from a hinge. So I'm going to stand up nice and tall. I'm actually going to bring my feet in a little bit more narrow. I'm going to get my feet shoulder width apart, toes forward. And to dive in deeper to that intention theme, I'm actually going to spread my toes. I'm going to spread my toes. Think about bringing my big toe towards midline. Then I'm going to spread the rest of my feet. Lift that arch in my feet. Really grip the earth with my feet. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge laterally. So we all know, or I hope we all know, this is a hinge, all right? This is a squat. Hinge, you're thinking about breaking at the hips, okay? So I'm going to break at the hips, pushing my butt back. But the twist here is I'm going to push my hips to the left. So if we're all standing in a room, I'm envisioning that I'm pushing my hips to the left corner of my room. So as I hinge, I'm leading with my left hip leads, left hip leads, leads. And I find my depth, and I come right back up. We're gonna do the same thing, but with our arms. My hips lead to the right, back, I reach up. Exhale, back to center. We're still hitting that outer portion of the hips. Lead with the left, lead with the left, open up. Exhale. And if you had your name on your t-shirt, I should be able to read your name on your t-shirt. So we're not here. I'm creating length, 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 length. I'm using my back muscles to help support my spine here. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Center. Inhale. Reach. Exhale. Center. Inhale. Exhale. And it's a wrap. Thank you guys for moving with me. It's always an honor to see you guys getting more into your bodies, getting more mind-body connection. And if you guys ever want to dive into body weight movements with me, I have a full educational course online, and it's something that you can also do at your own pace. So I love this product. It's going to definitely show you guys how to do joint mobility. So we work our way through our wrist tension. I'll show you guys how to do neck stuff. We pretty much hit every joint in the body, and there's multiple levels to that. So if you want to get more advanced, maybe dive into some ground-based movement, there's a whole section on that as well. So go check out my bodyweight course, and that's linked below. See y'all later.